This podcast is brought to you with support from Inductive Automation, celebrating more than 20 years of digital transformation for industrial automation. Ignition by Inductive Automation comes packed with innovative features for the modern control system, like unlimited licensing, high-powered tags, mobile-first flexibility, and an intuitive built-in design environment. The Ignition platform provides the tools your enterprise needs to build HMI, SCADA, IIoT, MES, and digital transformation solutions on the plant floor, at the edge, and in the cloud. Ignition supports operations of any size or industry, and it's used by 61% of the Fortune 100. See all that Ignition has to offer and download it for free at inductiveautomation.com.
Welcome to Automation Ladies, the only podcast we know of where girls talk about industrial automation. Sarah Wynn, welcome to Automation Ladies. How are you?
Thank you. Hi, Nikki. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very good. At this very moment, I'm very good. My day has involved some crying, but right now I'm having a really great time.
Well, I hope I don't cause you any tears. It's not my intent. I hope we can have a nice little back and forth. I'm really excited to meet you. This is the first time we've ever talked on Zoom or, video chat. And we've went back and forth for a while on LinkedIn. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. And for those of you that are listening on audio, we're hoping that this episode is also now video. We're planning to make the series both video and audio, depending on how you like to consume. Sarah's got a lovely home office with Christmas decorations up already because it is the beginning of December. And we should be publishing this episode in January as part of the next season. And because Sarah happens to be the first episode I'm recording since this happened, I'll just throw this out there and try not to make it too much of this episode. But I recently went through a personal loss. I lost my partner, my husband. And if you guys have listened to the show for a while, I have 2 little kids. I work a lot. And so my husband was kind of my at-home rock, keeping things going while I was out traveling too much and working too much and doing the stuff that I'm super passionate about. I have a career that I can't stop doing. And he didn't. So that was our arrangement. And that's changed. And so I haven't been able to record an episode in a while. Allie and Courtney have also been busy. Allie got a new job at Relativity Space. And did I say Allie or did I say Courtney? Courtney got a new job. Allie's moving. And yeah, so we got a lot of stuff going on. And so Sarah is the first person I've caught up with since then because we've been trying to talk forever. And I just didn't want to keep putting it off. We were rescheduled. She was traveling. She goes to a lot of shows as well. So like she mentioned, we've gone back and forth on LinkedIn a bit. I've started consuming a lot of her content from the shows that I can't go to, which reminds me a lot of how I met Allie. I started consuming her content from Pack Expo on LinkedIn, and then we talked. And then we met at Automate. So I will probably meet Sarah at a trade show next year, I'm guessing, in 2026. So I'm very excited to hopefully make a new friend. And as it goes on Automation Ladies, it's, this is a space for us to be able to talk about the stuff that we do at work in a way that's, fun and relatable to us. And so if you're in on this conversation and that speaks to you, that's awesome. And we look forward to getting to know you, hopefully, as well, in person or online. But yeah, with that, Sarah, thank you for coming on to my hour crazy show. I'm the only one hosting today. Allie is actually driving a truck with her belongings down to Louisiana.
Woo.
And Courtney is rocking her awesome new job. They're going to be doing lives next year. We're going to try to do at least 2 live demos a month, and Allie and Courtney will be leading most of those. And then I'm going to keep doing the talking show because as much as I love seeing tech demos, I love the connections I get to make with people in this industry across this medium. So Sarah, I should start with the standard question that we have on here on Automation Ladies, which is really just in your own words and as much as you want to include and not include. Tell us how you got here to be an editor at WTWH Media.
Definitely. And first, I want to say, Nikki, thank you for the invite. I am really excited, like I said at the top, to be on Automation Ladies. And I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. My thoughts and prayers are with you. I hope we can make this next hour uplifting and fun for you. And I thought
Yes.
we were already friends. I thought we were already friends. So
Yeah, there's just, it kind of goes in stages. I'm glad you thought that, because I am sometimes a weirdo and think I'm friends with people, and then they look at me and they're like, huh, okay, yeah. No, I am very friendly, and I like to make friends. So I appreciate that.
Yes. So all about me. My name is Sarah Wynn. I am a senior editor for WTWH Media. I primarily work on packagingoem.com. Sometimes I contribute to controlengineering.com as well. How did I get here? It's a long road.
My favorite types of people.
I will say that I've been a digital journalist for almost a decade. And when I say digital journalist, and I should point out that I am not an engineer. I cover engineering topics, but I am not an engineer.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't think that we would be receiving the content we are from you if you were. So
yes, I like to say I'm the queen of the gifts. If you can add me on LinkedIn, feel free. But how did I get here? Been a digital journalist for about 10 years. I worked in local news in Columbus, Ohio. I also worked in national news. But before I was ever a digital journalist, I was a digital marketer. Might make sense now with some of the content that I make. I've done social media really in a part-time capacity for about 15 years, and a full-time for about 12 or 13. I started, and I should just say, Nikki, I went to the Ohio State University, and I'm really into it, and it'll probably come up again. But
I know some people that are really into that. That's a thing.
It's a thing. I started doing social media for the athletic department when I was in school. I worked with the men's and women's basketball teams. It kind of propelled me to work with Nike for about a year on digital activations around Ohio State when I was a student. Post-grad, I did social for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and then I started my news career. So that's a very fast-track way to say how I got here. I've been with WTWH Media for a year. I work, like I said, primarily on packagingoem.com. We are a B2B company. WTWH stands for Willing to Work Harder. I get a lot of questions what the acronym means, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you hadn't brought it up.
I say I aim to do that each and every day, along with making #winning content. My last name is Wynn, and it's very much a personal brand. So I've been with WTWH for a year, covering packaging OEMs. We cover machine builders, our audience manufacturers, technology suppliers, some components as well. So that's very high level. I know I threw a lot at you.
No, that's great. My mind has gone in like 10 different directions, including I'm going to start with the least relevant one.
Okay.
If you ever come to Houston, you'll have fun looking at the billboards for various lawyers, law firms. They're everywhere. Were you injured in a truck crash? Or, it's just, that seems to be a huge industry here. And there's this law firm that these partners, Push and Wynn. And it used to be, I believe, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I believe it to be like a name of Polish origin, maybe Pusch, something like that for push.
Yeah.
And then the Vietnamese Wynn spelling, Nguyen. And so it was Push and Win. And like they had a lot of clever ads for we push, so you win sort of stuff.
That.
Yeah. And like in that industry, like perfect.
Yes.
Names and personal brands built on your names. If your name is like industry relevant or relevant to what you do or relevant to the outcome that you bring, like what a fun and cool coincidence that you can capitalize on.
Yes, well, I didn't like my last name, Nikki, growing up. My teachers would make fun puns off of it. I thought it was so embarrassing. Oh. And then All I Do Is Win came out, the song, and it changed my life. So there's a lot of Sarahs you'll meet in the world. I usually say Sarah Wynn, as in I'm Sarah. All I do is win, because most people don't forget that.
Yeah, that's great. And then the twist on the law firm story here is the partnership broke up, but Push had such good branding that he found himself another Win. So now it's another guy with long hair and a beard, and its last name is spelled W-Y, like yours, but with an E at the end, W-Y-N-N-E.
Yes.
And they acknowledge it in their marketing. They've got some new billboards, and one of them is like, it's complicated, Push and Win, and it shows them like laying together in a, like it just, I don't know. I think it's kind of hilarious, and I don't know if that really works. I guess maybe it works for legal clients. But like, to me, I look at these things from a branding perspective, a marketing perspective, like, and it's also just kind of funny.
Yes. Well, I'll add that I do have a Houston connection. I was just in Houston a few months ago, and I have 3 rescue dogs outside of work. Animal rescue is one of my biggest passions. One of them is from Houston, and my mom and I actually drove from Cleveland to Houston to pick him up.
Yeah. Oh, that's well, I'm glad you didn't get in a wreck and need to call one of these crazy lawyers.
Didn't need to call push and win. Did not.
Sports angle is pretty cool too. Starting there, what possible path brought you into manufacturing? How did that door open or that opportunity come to you?
Yeah.
Is that something you wanted or it just came?
I'll say that I'm a storyteller, and I think manufacturing and packaging have a lot of stories to tell. And I thought my skill set would translate pretty well. And when I say my skill set, I mean digital. I'm not a traditional print magazine editor. I have a lot of respect for them, but my background has always been in digital. So I was looking for a new role about last fall, a little over a year ago. And I saw this one come across. And one of the big pieces of my life and my success, it's really credited to people who've believed in me and who've supported me along the way. So I knew, and if I were to make a role switch, I would need someone, especially on the topic of packaging and manufacturing, that knew their stuff and would be willing to teach me. Because I'll admit, Nikki, a year ago, I didn't know that flexible packaging didn't come just in a pouch. I know this now. And I learned, but I saw this role and I did some research and I actually found my supervisor now, Stephanie Neal. She's been in the space for a long time. I will not say how many years, but she's awesome.
have met Stephanie a couple times. Yes.
She's great.
I would love to spend more time with her. She seems really, really cool. And she's made some content in our booth she made some content with us at Automate this year. So that is about the extent I've had interacting with her. Also, I just posted this on LinkedIn today, but the A3 Business Forum, I actually met her there. That's the first time I met her, and I had a drink with her, and we just chatted all about her renovating her house and all kinds of stuff. So yes, I have actually hung out with her a bit, and she's great.
She's awesome. I say she's the GOAT. So if you're going to learn packaging and manufacturing, you want to learn from the best. I think she's the best.
For sure.
So I knew if I was making the switch, I had to have someone who was willing to teach me. And she's been that. So it really was several factors. I thought the industry's topics could be told digitally in different ways. And then there was a mentor who was willing to take me under their wing and teach me everything, kind of like a Karate Kid situation.
Yeah. That is like huge value when it comes to looking at a job. You can look at like the job description and the pay and your duties and everything, but like I've always thought to myself too, like what else am I learning? Who am I getting to learn from as part of this? Because just I think working for different people over the years, such a big part of whether you succeed or not in your job and whether you like it or not is who you're working for. And whether they are the person that teaches you or they provide you with the right person to teach you, right? Either one, but super, super important. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And I know we said at the top, weird. I'll admit I'm a little weird. I'm a little kooky. Some of my ideas like, oh, let's take a pick and place robot and make it a GIF. And then it did really well. So we did it again. But she always is open to my creative ways I go about this. And she keeps me on track in terms of, the coverage and angles and things like that. And she's always there to help. So yeah, Stephanie's great. I knew she would come up in this. So if you're listening, Stephanie, you're I shouldn't say you're the best. You're the GOAT. There you go.
Well, we'll probably end up having Stephanie on the show sometime in the future. I don't see why.
This is a nice plug. She has a new,
get away from that.
She has a new podcast too. It's on controlengineering.com. Control Alt.
Oh, no kidding. I have been totally out of the loop for a while. So like, yes, that's great. How long has that been going?
A few months. It's up. Okay. It's all on Control Engineering. New episode recently came out. I'll just say that because where I know this will
Right.
air.
We will make sure that we link to that podcast in the show notes. It like the most recent episode won't be the most recent because our episode will be coming out in a few weeks. But we'll just go ahead and link to the main show so that you can catch the latest episode. And
Yes, and
I was catching up on the back catalog.
I should add that I have a podcast too.
Well, of course, I do know that. I was going to ask about that. So yeah, way to go. Bring it up. So what is your podcast all about? And why should people listen to it, or who should listen to it?
Who should listen to it? If you're a OEM manufacturer, plant engineer, I would say that's our target audience. So my podcast is called The Downtime. I co-host it with Sherry Kasperzak. She's executive editor at WTWH Media's Automation and Control Brands. Sherry and I pitched this podcast back in the spring to Stephanie, and she said, go for it. And within a week, we had our first episode up. We'll finish 2025 with 34 episodes. It's a weekly show. It comes out every Thursday. We've had some really interesting conversations. We talked with Atlantic Packaging and how they automated the vinyl record pressing line for Memphis Record Pressing. That was a neat episode. We've talked VFDs with Nord. We've had Schneider Electric on. We've had Hoosier Feeder. Like I could go on and on. I mean, there's 34 episodes, so I'm not going to name every single one. But yeah, it's a nice little show. And I will tell you, it is not a traditional manufacturing kind of podcast. I think Nikki would appreciate it. When I say this, I mean, we might be talking VFDs one second and like pumpkin spice the next. Like we are chatterboxes. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's really kind of what the point of, I have like a million points to automation ladies, so I say this a lot. But yeah, just to be able to talk about it the way that we do when we hang out, like, or when we are having conversations with people that are not like sales pressure conversations, like when you randomly meet someone at a trade show and you're talking shop with them, but you're also just kind of like having fun. That is the only way that I get these episodes done, because if it felt too much like work, I can't have too many jobs. But this is obviously part of your job. Mm-hmm. But it's really good that you guys, I appreciate that you're not doing it the kind of corporate-y style where all you can do is talk, or I guess in your case, it would be like just journalistic. Or I feel like just our industry is kind of plagued with very technical and dry stuff, which you need when you're at the stage of like figuring out your specifications. But when you just want to stay up to date, like learn new stuff and relate with people and learn new applications, like it doesn't have to be so serious all the time.
Yeah, and I'll add, one of my favorite parts about my role is being able to tell the human stories behind the machines. I think Cold Water, we have a story up on Cold Water Distilling. I think that's where you and I initially connected, Nikki, on this story.
Oh, yeah.
They have distilling dreams, and they have a co-packing line to fund those dreams. It's an awesome story. It goes back. It starts with reality TV. Kentucky basketball players are involved. I'm not going to give the whole story away, but yeah, I love telling the human side, and it's probably the consumer news piece of me that is still lingers around, but it is one of my favorite things.
No, I love that. I like that a lot. And I love that story. And I think that's why I probably reached out to you, or I commented on it or something immediately, because it was just a pleasure to read. It didn't hurt that like I guess Hamrick Packaging, I think, is one of the co-investors in the facility, and they're one of our customers. They use our HMI on their machines, and so just to see, like, to be able to read something related to something that I know and it be that interesting and entertaining, because it did remind me of something I would read in a regular, back when I did used to read like newspapers or. Well, and ones that were not just focused on like doom and gloom. I don't know. I just feel like now I'm kind of allergic to news. Like I like my industry stuff and then my family at home. I feel like the rest of the world, not to get into any of that, is just.
It's a lot. I come from that industry too. So yes, I know. So I was looking for a role. I could use my skill set and tell an industry stories. And I've been fortunate. I've had that opportunity to do that with packaging, with manufacturing. But Hamrick's a great example. I live in Northeast Ohio. Hamrick is very close to my house. I was there over the summer. I saw your HMIs. I have some pictures if you want them. But
please, anybody, seriously. Okay, I'm going to go a little off track here, but I've gotten a lot of messages from people, and thank you to everyone that sent me a message while I've been away, or like condolence messages, like, I don't know what to say, but I just wanted to say we're here for you kind of messages. Like, when people around me have had losses, like, it's super weird and I don't know what to do. And I want to do the right thing, but I also don't want to be like the 100th person to ask, how are you doing today? Like, whatever. It's weird. You don't know what to say. And a lot of people message, they're like, hey, I don't want to bother you. Right. So if you want to send me a message, if you're listening to the show and you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, you're welcome to go ahead and do that. I would love that. B, you're welcome to send me a message. It will not bother me. I may not respond right away, but it made me feel really, really good in a really crappy time to get so many nice messages from people that I work with or that I know from industry. And one of the things that people have asked, like, I don't know what I can do from far away. I don't know you that well, but if there's anything I can do to help, like, what can I do to help? And one of the things that's a challenge, I will just be honest, is like juggling being a single mom, having side things like the podcast and the conference, and then having a job and, just all of that. And a lot of my stuff that I had planned this year, because I basically lost a quarter of this year, like plus a little bit, was some of my initiatives around going out to more shows, creating more content. I have a lot of stuff planned that like now will just get pushed into next quarter or next year or whatever. And thankfully, like Wynn is just being super awesome about all of this. But one of the things I asked two people was exactly that. Just they're like, hey, I'm going to this event. I'm like, hey, if you see any HMIs or Wynn HMIs, like send me a picture. Because I'm not out there, but they're out there everywhere. And the more people I know that because people tell me that all the time. They're like, oh man, I see Wynn everywhere. Like, please, yes, send me a picture. So if you hear this, just keep this in your brain. If you ever want to help Nikki, if you see Wynn anywhere, just send me the picture. Tell me where it is. If you have that extra time, if not, just send it. That's a super nice little helpful way to add some value to my day and to help me do my job to the best of my ability at the moment. So.
Well, I will go through my archives of my Hamrick pictures, and I'm sure I have at least one, so I'll send it over. I do have, it's not on my desk right now, but if you follow me on LinkedIn, I have this little Wynn Hot Wheels van I take around. I put it on conveyors, things like that. I have a picture of the van on an HMI, but I'm not sure if it's a Wynn I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure. It would be fitting, though, to have a Wynn van on a Wynn HMI.
I know, right? Okay, so people, I didn't know this, but a lot of people call it Wine Tech because it's spelled differently. It's actually an acronym for some, but it's the name, I guess it's up to interpretation, but our interpretation is that we like to win, not wine.
Oh, I love that. I might take it.
Yeah. So what sort of content, when you came into this role, you came into B2B, you came into manufacturing from this consumer background, from sports, from college stuff, from what were your observations on what you felt like was glaringly needed or that we could do that we weren't doing?
Well, I'll just add a large portion of my background is in social media and social media management. I managed
yes,
for most of my career, including in local and national news. I worked on social campaigns. So that was kind of my first crack at it. I started, and within my first week or two, I had a story up. And I said, can I have an Adobe license? I want to make graphics. And from there, off it went. And it's interesting. We talked about Hamrick. Hamrick was one of the first to repost packaging OEM. So when I started a year ago, we had 115 LinkedIn followers on our packaging OEM account. We are almost to 1,400 present day. We're very close. So we have really grown this community, and it's been one of my most favorite things I've done in my career. I grew audiences at Ohio State. I kind of inherited audiences at some other roles, but this one, we built it from the ground up. And most of these people I've met in person, I've met at shows, we've had them on the podcast. So it's very rewarding. But yeah, so what did I notice? Mainly how I could leverage social to one, get traffic to my content and share the industry stories in a way that I hadn't seen it be done.
Yeah, no, that's actually, it's a great observation. So I will say most of the industry coverage that I do read and I read the online versions of these trade magazines, right? But my path has been following the person that wrote the story and then subscribing or starting to read the rest of the publication, not so much the other way around. When I just read the publication, unless it was, and now I can't remember, I probably came across your.
That's how we met, I think.
You're probably the only person whose story I've read and then like wanted to follow.
Oh.
Versus the other way around, where I usually read something and then like, because I found a lot of journalists aren't even on social media, or they're on Twitter, or they're on like someplace I'm not. So I don't really do social media other than LinkedIn. So oftentimes when I go try to like connect with journalists or follow them, it's just they're not like where I am, which is LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, that was a huge shift for me because the B2C audience, LinkedIn was never my main platform.
No.
So when I came on I've increased my personal brand quite a bit as well, but I knew coming into this role, I would have to really leverage LinkedIn and find different ways to make content stick. We've had some good posts, but yeah, I think you and I connected initially. It was either the H Barnum automation trailer video. I did a little video and photos
it could have been that one too. Yeah.
And then I had cold water right after.
Yeah. Obviously now, since we're both like, now I'm so, because of my position with Wynn and us working primarily with OEMs and a lot with packaging OEMs, all of a sudden now, like we are in the same orbit, right? So it's not surprising that you're covering like more customers. Barnum is one of our biggest distributor probably. So I follow what they're doing. And I also, it's hit or miss whether or not like our distributors are doing a lot of social, doing a lot of multimedia type marketing. Definitely depends on size. Some of them are more aggressive about it than others.
Yeah. I'll say that H Barnum, the reason the photos or videos even exist is because PBC Linear posted that they were at the event on LinkedIn, which was about 5 miles from my house. So I took my lunch break. I didn't know about it until the day of. I took my lunch break, went over there. I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" They're like, "You want to do a video?" I said, "Absolutely." I was like, "Let me grab my equipment in my car." Oh, yes, I brought it just in case. So yeah, that's how it's all about everything. A lot of people are hesitant with social. I just grew up with it. I've done it for so long. It's just the way I kind of go about things. But yeah, that's how the H Barnum content came about. And thank you to them. They did it all on the spot.
Yeah. And honestly, that's how I like to do too, like the live demos that we do on Automation Ladies and stuff. I mean, people are, obviously, we schedule them in advance, so they are allowed to prep. But I just try to say, grab a person that does this on a regular basis and just let them do their thing. I don't want anything special. I don't want anything like scripted specifically for me or prepared for our audience. Just bring on someone that knows the thing real well. And they typically talk about it, no problem, off the cuff.
Let them go at it. Yeah,
exactly. Which is why, like at trade shows and stuff too, I always think it's kind of interesting when I walk up and I want to hear from someone. They're like, "Oh, I'm not the person to talk to." And like clearly, I know the engineers are not going to be the people that are going to want to talk to media usually. And big companies have to be, afraid of all their different PR rules and stuff like that. But I operate kind of in the smaller arenas because I feel like it's easier to have more impact and you can do a lot more when you're not super constrained by a lot of red tape. And it sounds like WTWH is kind of a place like that as well. Like Stephanie letting you experiment and just approving something or, like, let's just, approve it and then just get it done. Let's give it a shot. Right.
She gives me a lot of creative freedom and I appreciate that. I work pretty independently, I guess you could say. But if I ever have a question, I'll add too, I'm not like most millennials. I am not afraid to call on the phone. So I will FaceTime her. I will call her, say, I need help. And she'll answer. Or she can't, she'll get back to me. But yeah, she does. It's a great place to be. A lot of creative freedom. Really, it's kind of like a sandbox and whatever I kind of envision I can build. I just had this idea this week, and by the time this airs, this will be out, so it's okay. We did photo galleries for every trade show we went to this year. PAC Expo Southeast, PAC Expo Las Vegas, Automate, and I'm missing one, ProMat. So we're bringing them, we brought them back for Flashback Fridays, just pulling photos that we had already taken and getting vendors and brands in the feed that you don't necessarily see every day. One I met this year, Linmont USA. They're excellent.
I know them.
Peter Zaffaro. We had his son, Zarin Zaffiro, on the podcast. He has a great episode too. He was back on in the summer. But yeah, just spotlighting as many people as I can and really making that digital connection.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people right now they're realizing that the trade show marketing is really important, but it's also like you have to stretch it just all year, right? Like, and you create that content at the shows, and then you have to be communicating with your ecosystem like almost all year about even from that like one show. But the way to get ROI out of the shows now is different than it used to be. And I still see some people like only showing up at the show and then again next year and like maybe trying to call the leads in the meantime. But I'm guessing they're probably not getting as much as they could out of it, right? If they're not producing the content, or if you're not a company that produces the content, right? Like initiatives like this helps keep those huge efforts, expenditures of time and money that these trade shows are. And let's be honest, for like machinery OEMs, these things are no joke. You're shipping tons across, who knows how far, the setup and all those fees for all the booths and all that, the internet and the carpet and stuff is crazy.
The carpet. I've seen some really interesting carpet this year. Yeah. I was just at the Schneider Electric Innovation Summit. They had the greenest carpet I had ever seen.
Was it like all branded by Schneider because it was their event? So
it was their event. Yeah. So they invited us. But we don't have to talk all about carpet. It just made me think of it. It just popped up.
Yeah. No, it's one of those incidental things that if you're involved in the trade show business, you start to notice and learn. And I think us with like these, I don't know, engineering type brains, you spot anomalies and patterns. And then there's things that are outliers. And you're just like, oh my God, why is carpet so expensive?
Well, I had never been to a trade show until this year. So
that was actually another thing I was going to ask, like not coming from the B2B world, like what impressions, if any, do you have about our trade show world?
Woo! This event that really stands out, the booths were just beautiful, was ProMat at McCormick Place in Chicago. That one.
Okay.
And I have
still never made it to ProMat. As a person that works in this OEM space with HMIs, would you recommend I go to ProMat?
Yes, I enjoyed every event I went to. I really enjoyed ProMat. We had some good stories that came out of that you can read on packagingoem.com. A big one, Ranpak brought this sustainable paper pallet wrap to the North American market. This was back in the spring. It was through a collaboration with Ranpak and Paper Wrap Green by Orange. They're based in Austria, and Mondi Group, who supplies the stretchable paper. So that was a good demo.
Paper. Is it the kind with like those little bitty slits in it?
No slits. And we have a GIF of it. This GIF was my best.
Okay.
This GIF was the best.
Things to put in the show notes. Let's link to this GIF because now I'm curious.
Listen to this. Yes, it's my best GIF of the whole year. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, ProMat was great. Yes, met some great people that work with MHI. Everyone, I will say too, in this industry has been extremely welcoming to me. Very nice. When you come from consumer news, you work with a lot of personalities. I'm not saying there's not personalities in this space, but everyone has really embraced me and welcomed me with open arms, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do find that kind of depends on where you sit in the industry, whether it feels extremely welcoming or not. But I think at your level where you're coming in, especially, on the media side, and I've never been in the media rooms at the trade shows and stuff before. So I wouldn't be able to speak to how friendly those people are. But I do find in general, like this industry is full of really great people. And I think you are also with the right group to be coming in and to be like really welcomed. I think I will speak to, I know people that have had terrible trade show experiences. I have personally had a terrible trade show experience. And then also a really great one at the exact same show, just different years and different circumstances and different ways that I was coming to the show, presenting or not presenting, but like walking up to booths.
Yeah.
It really depends on too, like what you say you're doing, whether people are going to be nice to you or not. Luckily, hey, can I give you some coverage and media and whatever? Like that typically I think gets to be received really, really well. But I'm glad you're finding that you're liking that. I personally have found that like also the industry associations that run the shows are full of like really, really great people. I've been going to, for the last few years, mostly A3 events, which is they run Automate, and several other conferences and things that are smaller than Automate. And I've really, really gotten to love and know like a lot of the people that are in that association, and longtime members of the association and people that are on the board and so on. Same thing with another one called the Association for High Tech Distribution. So those are the distributors that sell the brands, do a lot of the value added, helping the customer select what they need, that sort of thing. Yeah, like, you know, H.H. Barnum, like not like you don't know what a distributor is. So the association that H.H. Barnum belongs to, and a lot of the manufacturers that work with that network of distributors, I found to be an amazing group of people as well. And I've been actually as part of the selection that I had when I chose this job with Wynn at the beginning of this year was the ability to stay involved with these organizations, because I really enjoy the people that I've met there so much that I think I would feel a slight loss in my life if I took a job that made me leave those associations.
Yeah, I understand.
And that really like speaks to kind of like, yeah, the people side of the business, even though it's a tech business, but it's really a manufacturing. It's really supporting like, yeah, just making all the stuff that we all use, but the tech side of it. But like, it's so much about the people and the relationships. And I think telling those stories in that sense is so important. And being able to form those relationships in a different way than we used to, because it used to be those personal relationships were made, I don't know, on the golf course and doing things that people used to be able to do and used to, you know, connect over. And now with demographics changing in the workforce and the way that we work changing, a lot of those opportunities aren't there. So how do we still have this industry built on relationships, have those opportunities to make the relationships? And I think that like now really these associations, these events, and then the online interactions that are made in between those events are what are creating a lot of the new relationships for me anyway, that used to be a lot more local. So I live in Houston now, but like honestly, most of my best business relationships and stuff are people that live elsewhere. I see them a few times a year at conferences or whatever. And yeah, so there's a couple. Now that I'm with Wynn, I need to get more into the OEM side of things. And so MHI is an association, right? The Material Handling Institute. Is that what that stands for?
I believe so, yes.
I think so, yeah. I'll let them correct me if anybody from them listens to the show if that's wrong. That's one that I've never made it to because I've never been big on the logistics side of the industry, more so on the discrete manufacturing, packaging, and working with systems integrators and stuff. So, and then the other one is PMMI. So that's Pack Expo. And I just joined PMMI. And so I'll probably be attending more of their events next year. Problem is I can't clone myself and be traveling at every event.
Right.
Also get work done.
If only.
Yeah, if only. So that is why also I rely on coverage and interacting with people that are at the shows that when I'm not there, which is why I just posted today, like I can't go to A3 Business Forum next year, but I highly recommend it. I've been going for years. And if somebody is going for the first time, and I highly recommend, going if that is the group that you need to be networking with. I'm happy to make introductions to anybody, even if I'm not going to be there, because I can see the coverage. I can see pictures on LinkedIn. I can message people that are there and you can message me, right? So I don't have to be completely disconnected from the event just because I'm not there, which helps with my FOMO a little bit because now I probably can't travel as much without a partner home with my kids and stuff. So that's a challenge for me. I really have this, like, I want to do everything personality.
I think that's where we're the same. I think we have that is what I'm trying to say. But I was at Automate. I was with Stephanie, but we weren't together at the booth. We could have met then. It's okay.
Okay.
It worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have to be better about trying to do everything at trade shows, because even this year at Automate, I thought I pared down like what I was doing so that I would have a little bit more calmness. But yeah, creating content and then like just walking between like different sections of the halls, it takes so much time. I overbooked myself again, like big time.
Yeah, I think I did 27 booth visits at PAC Expo Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah. So my goal going in, I always do. I'll walk the floor, and if something's interesting, I'll make sure to say hello. But I try to have appointments, and I like to have some questions in mind going in, because I do a lot of videos, and most of my interviews are on video. So there's that, and then I like to do obviously photo galleries. I mentioned those, and a little recap video each day. A little recap video with a popular song. So when we were in Detroit, we did Kiss, Detroit Rock City. Nice. That one was cool. Yeah. And Fanuc had a robot moving the guitars. That was cool.
Yeah. So if you're not already following Sarah on LinkedIn, definitely do. And we do this at the end as well, but I think we're coming up on the end here. We got maybe a little bit of time. I'm trying to keep the episodes more concise. I was going to ask, how do you plan what you're covering at shows? So you already just gave me a glimpse of that a little bit. You like to try to have a plan of who you're visiting and what you're going to ask them.
Yes.
But how do you know, like, do you look through the exhibitor list and just decide what you're interested in? Is it people that you are somehow aware of already in your network and you have some plan that you want to go see them?
Being in that, this is I guess you could call this my rookie year in packaging. Yeah. Going into PAC Expo Southeast, I want to meet everyone. I wanted to put a face to the name. Now I'm a little bit more selective. I'm definitely looking for the new innovations. There are some OEMs I've built a good relationship with over the past year, even if I don't necessarily write about them from that event. Morrison Container Handling Solutions is a good one. I did an OEM profile on them in the fall and made sure to stop by and say hello when we were in Las Vegas. So just trying to meet as many people as possible. And if the one thing you should probably know about me is I am extremely organized. It might not look like it with my background because it's a little chaotic. But when it comes to work, I'm like a spreadsheet queen. So I go in with a schedule. I try as much as I can to keep myself in certain halls if it's a big show, because I learned the hard way. Going from one hall to the other is not fun very quickly. I just go in and I have a few topics in mind. The one thing I did a little different for PAC Expo Las Vegas, I talked to dozens of OEMs, component suppliers, and really asked what the big trends were at the show. And then when I got home, wrote up a PAC Expo trend story, did a little video on that. I've also been putting my face much more on the content the last few months than I did at the beginning, probably because I feel a little bit more comfortable with it now. Not that I wasn't comfortable showing my face, just that I was and still am learning the industry. And I want to make sure I tell it properly. That's the organization in me probably, and the perfectionist quite a little bit. But yeah, so I go in, and sometimes we have some research reports too that are up on Packaging OEM. Those are great to check out. Energy efficiency in packaging machinery is one. We have one on biologics. I just did one on material handling in October. We have a few more coming out in 2026 that I'm working on now. So if I'm going to a show, I know I have this report coming. I'll make sure to make contact. So I knew the material handling ebook was coming. I met a lot of material handling and conveyance companies in the meantime to build those relationships, and very fortunate for them. And I also, Nikki, I just talk a lot. You might have noticed this. I have met people at the airport that I've gone on to do stories about. I just see it and I kind of go for it.
Yeah. Somebody once asked me at a trade show how I pick who I talk to. Because I typically have worked as a sales engineer, and usually we'll have applications engineers also in the booth. And they were just like, how do you do it? You talk to everyone. Like, how do you decide? And I was just like, no, you don't decide. you start the conversation with everyone. What you have to learn how to do quickly is decide where to take the conversation. And it may be to shut it down very quickly, or it may be to, it's, hey, see you next year. Or maybe it's, hey, go see this booth down there because that's really what you're looking for. Or, maybe it's, hey, bring your coworker by tomorrow, or you never know. And the person may not be the right person to talk to, but you never know who they know or what they're there for. So I always try to start the conversation. Because I think, and some of us, you just kind of like sometimes get a vibe or whatever. I've also met some people at the airport or in the airplane that, I think sometimes I think the universe brings everybody those opportunities all the time. Some of us are just more eager about finding them. I think they've done some studies, like pessimistic people will like walk past money on the ground because they're just not looking. But like more positively minded people that are always like on the lookout for opportunity, like they literally just see the money on the ground and the other people don't.
I'm an only child, so I grew up around adults. So I grew up just having to read the room and be able to talk to adults as, a little kid. I think it's really helped. And I walk in the room, I feel vibe. It sounds silly, but when you and I just messaged on LinkedIn, I was like, okay, I like her. I can just tell. And it's when I first met Stephanie Neal, we did a Zoom and I was like, okay, I like her. I can just tell. I go in with the mindset, but I try to meet everyone I can. And I always ask, hey, can I add you on LinkedIn while we're here? Because if I do content on them, I want to make sure I'm tagging the right person. Some people there's a lot of Sarah Wynns in the world, believe it or not, but I want to make sure we have the right connection. So that's one thing, but the shows are a lot of fun. They're a lot of work, and they seem to make even more work when I get home.
Of course. Yes. They are definitely generators of more follow-up work. Always.
A lot. Yes. But I love it.
Work while you're there. Cause in the case of like stuff that you would normally be doing, and then all the new stuff that comes from the shows. But it's also it's a great way to have that consistency of being able to like catch up with people on a regular basis that you would never go like visit them on purpose, like travel, just for that. And it allows, to just build these these industry relationships that also, our industry is kind of like once you know a certain area, you can do a lot of things within that. There's a lot of transferable skills between like whether you're at the component supplier or at the OEM or at the manufacturer, you're a plant engineer for a while. Some of my favorite people are ones that have played multiple of those roles, because you just see so many different sides of kind of the same problem. You become more well-rounded. You can relate more to the people around you. You can relate more to whatever either solutions you're buying or selling or supporting or writing about or whatever that is, right? So I personally think, the media world and the in-person kind of the events and the digital, like it all ties together with the digital content tied to the personal brand. Because that's how we can kind of keep that thread of knowing people, even if we're not seeing them all the time.
Yeah, I've even FaceTimed with OEMs. So whatever way I can. When we did the cold water story, I knew I couldn't physically go to Tennessee, but I saw Jordan Hamrick was there, and I said, can I FaceTime with you so I can see it? Because I would like to write it accurately. And we went around, and it was awesome. So we've done with Hamrick, we've done it with some others too. So if any OEM is listening, wants to do a FaceTime tour, I'm definitely down for it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that is the way to do it. And that's an awesome idea, because I've been wanting to do more like shop tours, factory tours. I can see why your GIFs are so popular. I've been wanting to do short videos of like machines of when they spit something out. Like that motion, like that's so satisfying to me to see whatever the product, even if it's in the middle of the line and it's like a work in progress. Still, like whatever high volume thing that machine spits out, it's so satisfying.
I love that. It's funny you bring up the GIFs, because I've been obsessed with GIFs long before they even had GIF keyboards. If you don't know if you remember Tumblr, I used to go on Tumblr and save GIFs to my phone, and like had a little GIF folder. So I had like instant like GIFs to send to my friends in terms of texting. So we did some when I worked in local news. I was the Ohio State digital reporter for football, for basketball, and when you're in Columbus, Ohio, it's a religion. It's a very big deal. So I wanted to experiment. We did some gifts with them, team running out, different players. So yeah, the gifts have always been a part of me. It's fun to be able to integrate it into this. And they're going to toss out some packaging lingo inadvertently, but yeah.
Yeah, I love, and it's fun to be able to take, like, I don't know, I don't pay attention to these trends much because I'm not on other social media, but there are like social media trends that you can kind of stick niche, industry stuff on, and it's really funny. And like the only people that get it are the ones that get your industry lingo or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, insider. It's like the automation dad joke, but now it's a meme, right?
Yeah, I love memes too.
Out of Controls is an account that does a lot of like automation, like funny controls engineering.
Okay, I'll have
memes
to look at that one.
You should follow them. I think they're on TikTok or something.
Okay. Yeah, we met. We did a podcast a few months ago with Flexline Automation's Kathy Rinney. She is on TikTok as the Conveyor Cougar. She has got a fun story too.
She does, and we love her. We've had her and Lauren on the show, so you guys can listen to that. I talked to them. I think I recorded one on my phone at Automate one year, or no, it was the A3 Business Forum, and then I think they came on for a live another time. But they are great, and they're also big into. Kathy's huge into animal rescue, so I'm sure you guys connected over that.
She's seen my dogs. Yes. I thought about mentioning her earlier,
but I try not to go on too many tangents, even though I do. It's my brand. It's my style of ADHD. I've learned. I used to think I was just weird, and now it's like I don't know if it's disappointing or just nice to know that it's not really just weirdness. It's just like I have a lot of what I thought were my quirks are very common symptoms for people with ADHD or like my type of thinking. And I just met up with a college friend that I haven't seen in a really long time. And he's an engineer. And I mostly had engineering friends in college, even though I'm not an engineer. I just kind of gravitate to that style of thinking or something. And I asked him this question. I was like, did you ever think that my weirdness, like, did you think that I had ADHD? Because now I'm like, how did I not know this? Like all these people were like taking Ritalins to stay up for tests and stuff like that. And I thought it was, I don't know. I just thought it was cheaty because I didn't. And then it's like, I could have legitimately had that prescription. I just had no idea.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, did you ever think that that might be it? And he's like, well, did you think that I got autism? And I was like, oh yeah, no, we're just both weird. And like,
we're just both weird.
Yeah. And you can label it as weird or you can, go with the official letters of whatever your diagnosis is. But the truth is us in the kind of this engineering field, we attract a lot more neurodivergent people. I think with the types of skill sets and things that we need. And it's typically less reliant on good social skills and being super normal, right? Like a little bit of weirdness is accepted because whatever other skills we bring to the table. And that I think now we're bringing out a lot of the human side of our business into this content and stuff. Like it's becoming blatantly obvious how weird we are. And it's cool. And it's nice to be able to connect with each other because it's very relatable when you're in a room of people that are similarly weird to you. I wouldn't say equally because all our weirdnesses are different, but.
Well, I mean, I can't really see it. I'll move my chair. I mean, I have 2 wrestling WWE championship belts hanging in my office.
I see those, yes.
I think that's pretty weird. Here, I'll move. So the black one was actually given to me when I was promoted in local news by my news director. So we aired a wrestling show and WWE sent us this belt. She offered me this promotion. I said, I'll do it, but I would like the belt too. And she said, done. Here you go. So I like to see it every day. It is a little kooky. It's a little weird, but it makes me happy. So it's always in the background of the podcast too when we record it.
Okay. Yeah. That is, that's a great setup. I actually am in the process of trying to sell my house. So I have nothing permanent set up right now for podcasts, but that is one of my goals for next year is to set up like just a good podcasting spot in my next house. Cause I guess I'm doing this now for a while. We did debate whether or not we should just shut down the show. And we all realized that we love doing it too much. And so we'll keep doing it. And I can't believe that it's been close to 4 years. I guess about 3, like it said 3.5 or something last time I checked. And it feels a lot shorter than that. But I guess that is time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to, I guess, maybe a little bit more of a,
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, any burning questions
I did prep some, in case this wouldn't be an interesting conversation.
In case I was.
So I clearly didn't need to go back to any of my notes.
Oh.
But I did want to ask you, since you've been at the shows and I haven't, and you've been asking people this, even though I feel like these usually result in such vague answers that they're not super exciting. But what are the top trends that you think are exciting? And I guess maybe I'll reframe the question based on what we talked about the shows. What are some of the topics that you think you're planning on going to try to talk to people about next year that are new?
I mean, AI continues to every event I go to, especially the later in this year, AI. So that will be one. Digital transformation and packaging will be one. Hope to expand my horizons a bit. Remote management will be one. Predictive maintenance again. So like I said, this was I could say my rookie year in packaging. So learning the foundation. Now I have to build the house. I want to execute. I want to do more feature stories. You'll see some more OEM profiles coming up on Packaging OEM's website, along with research reports. We did a flexible packaging deep dive a few months ago. I'd like to do part 2 focused on the machinery. The first one was really about the materials, and that's how I told you about my flexible pouch story, and I learned a lot along the way. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm really excited. Obviously, too, when I go to these shows, I want to meet everyone. I want to hear stories that we can share on our platforms to others to read. And that's not just the podcast, it's written content, videos, all of the above. I love quotes. Obviously I'm a writer. So I hear sound bites, like when people say them. I have a Jordan Hamrick quote I haven't used yet. And I'm like waiting for the right moment because I know it's just going to land. He knows what the quote is, but no one else, just us. So anyways, I think of things like that, and things just come to me in the moment. I will be on the couch with my dogs and I have a great idea. I'm very well known for writing on my phone. I literally will write stories on my phone. I just did it going to the event I went to a few weeks ago. There's a story on Antares Vision Group with AI and their pre-filled syringe detection system. That story's up on Packaging OEM's website. Most of it was written on my phone. So I'm kind of getting on a tangent, but if I have an idea, I just start writing it out. I have to write. I have to see it. I'm a visual learner.
Okay.
So that's a very long-winded answer. I apologize.
That's okay. You just you're making me feel very good about myself because
why?
Well, no. Well, because that's exactly what I do all the time.
Okay.
And it's I just feel like a certain kinship to how you think or how you work. Because honestly, before this podcast, I had planned to give myself what I don't relate to as much is the organizing. Like I have given up on thinking that I am a very good organizer or organized person. I am, but in like very sporadic kind of ways. I do better with help organizing myself. But I started something today that was a new idea, and I couldn't stop myself from getting it to a place that and I would have, if I didn't have this show, I'd still be working on it. But we had this scheduled and I knew I needed to do it and stuff. But some people work really well having everything planned out and they can work towards these goals. And it's just a type of linear thinking that I don't have. And I require, for me to use my powers, I need to be intensely interested in something. And so sometimes my focus jumps around a bit because I become interested in something, and then it's hard to bring me back to something that no longer carries my interest.
Yeah, I get it.
And the industry is so cool in the sense that it's never boring as long as you have kind of a playground or a sandbox within that you can play and try out different things that you're interested in. And so I feel like I'm in the same type of position now because I have a job that is they've also given me a lot of leeway of hey, bring your ideas. We hired you for your ideas in addition to, skills and things to do the job. But part of it is we don't know what the job is until you come up with the idea also, and that is really fun, right? Because you have a set of goals, where you're trying to go, where you're steering the ship, as a company. But I think as far as, especially when it comes to smaller things like tactics or trying new things, or it's like sometimes you just need to act on them when they come.
Yeah.
And if they succeed, then you've done something pretty extraordinary, because it would have taken a long time probably if you had like gone for approval and thought about it too long and planned it out. And then like maybe the moment would have even passed for that to have been successful. But it's just a certain type of thinker or person that can like run with an idea immediately and make something out of it that's actually worthwhile. And then, make some hopefully good judgments about whether to continue that or not. You don't sink too much time into a fool's errand while you're in the middle of something important. But these are some of the things that I struggle with constantly.
Yeah.
Because I have all kinds of ideas, and I like to execute.
Remember, I worked in consumer news and breaking news. I've handled presidential elections. I've handled Ohio elections. I've handled COVID, sports, Supreme Court decisions. So when something comes down, your focus has to instantly shift entirely to that topic. So I think that kind of where I get it from. But in terms of the ideas and making content, I feel much more in this role like I have a sandbox and I can test and experiment and see what does well. And I really love that. And so my goal is to make packagingoem.com as good as it can be, and social media, of course. It's a huge factor, a huge piece of what I do, but and be able to share the industry stories and spotlight OEMs and spotlight machine builders behind the machines. Yes, I want to see the machine making the flexible pouch, but I want to hear the expert behind it, what he thinks about it or what she thinks about it. I shouldn't assume it's a man. So that's
I'm just about to interview a director of manufacturing for an OEM that's a woman next week. So
sweet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a lot of female guests on the Downtime podcast. And the other thing I'll say, when I talked about quotes are one of my favorite things. My favorite being closed mouths don't get fed. If you never ask, you will never know. So when Nikki asked me to be on the show, I said, yeah, of course, I'll do it. She asked me.
Yeah. And I would like to encourage more people in this industry to not be afraid to ask what they think might be dumb questions. Again, you're never going to get the answer if you don't ask. And I think as engineers, and I won't lump myself in. I know enough of them, and oftentimes they feel like they need to know or they should know everything. Mm-hmm. What you end up learning later on in your career is that nobody knows anything, and everybody needs to ask all the time. And you learn most of the things through experience, through the hard way, on the job. And so you might as well save yourself a little bit of that by asking, because you'll still learn way too much just on the job. Because this automation, packaging, machinery, manufacturing world, there's a lot of stuff that's been done, but a lot of it's just constantly like new stuff, unique situations, things that we have to deal with. So everybody's learning all the time. And it really is a place where you'll find people are more happy to help than I think would judge you for asking questions. My last question, and you've already answered quite a bit of this, and I am known for my compound questions. I say one question. No, but really it's just, what should people do if they want to engage more with you, your content? Where should they go to follow you? And what should they expect to see from you next year? So I think we've kind of we can just recap it, right? We've podcast, where can they read, see your content, and shows they're going to see you at next year?
Definitely. So you can find me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/SARWYNN, Sarwyn. Sarah Wynn was taken. We went with Sarwyn. You can also find my content at packagingoem.com. The Downtime podcast lives on packagingoem.com and Plant Engineering's website. And what shows will I be at next year? I will be bringing I have a little stabilizer, Nikki, for my iPhone. When we meet in person, you'll get to see it. I'll have my stabilizer with me, taking videos for gifts and social and all the above, and interviews. I will be at Pack Expo East in February. I believe I'm going to Modex in April, and Automate is on the table for June. That's in Chicago. And then Pack Expo in Chicago, going back to Chicago, which is fine with me because it's pretty close. It's about an hour flight. Nice. So that's what's on deck, but you never know. I had some invitations come my way this year where I was able to learn more about industrial automation and cover that topic, which we didn't go into quite a bit, but there's links to that on my social in terms of open software defined automation. There's podcasts on that as well on the downtime. But yeah, that's where I will be. But you can always find me online. You can send me an email. My work email is on Packaging OEM's website, so check that out. And the last thing I will say is subscribe to the Packaging OEM newsletter. Subscribe to the Packaging OEM newsletter. That one is that's my big project going into 2026. Try to make it and revamp it. Make it the place to be. And you'll see that I've got some good ideas. I'm not going to spill all my tea, but some stuff.
Okay. Well, I look forward to having you hopefully as a return guest sometime later this year, assuming it's January now, or somewhere around there. I hope to maybe see you at the Pack Expo East. If not, I'm going to send Nick Moss, but I'm hoping to meet him there. He's one of our sales guys that handles the East Coast. But yeah, you'll find me at some more PMMI events next year, and I'll definitely, well, you said Automate's on the table, so I will see you somewhere next year for sure. And I will also send you an invite. You've now been invited to OT SCADA CON as well in Houston in the summertime if you want to come with the sweltering heat. We like to get an Airbnb with the pool. I highly recommend that.
Oh my gosh, I have an Airbnb story I can tell you offline.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much for joining me, Sarah. Those of you that are listening, there will be some changes, but hopefully this is a new season out. We also have a newsletter you can subscribe to. Would appreciate that. We are going to be putting some more effort into our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this and this is on video, thank you. I guess like and subscribe, like my 7-year-old knows how to say, those of them that grew up with all this natively. And we are going to keep making our content. It's taken us longer than we thought to get a lot better at it, I think, in terms of production quality. But we are working on it, and we really appreciate all the relationships that we've made, including with media that we get to learn from. Honestly, that's another piece of this. When I see you creating your content on these shows and things like that, that's all stuff that I pick up from. Because although we're not a media company, I mean, I guess this is another form of media. We do it from our kind of grassroots angle. And it's really, really great to see other outlets doing similar stuff, because I think more fun, relatable, where you can see the real stories, real people content is what I would like to be consuming. And I'm assuming the rest of you. So yeah, follow Sarah, connect with her. And I hope to see you at our next LinkedIn Live or catch you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to Automation Ladies. If you like our content and you want to stay in touch, please connect with us on LinkedIn, follow the show page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can send us a message or a coffee on our website, automationladies.io. We look forward to getting to know you. Our producer is Veronica Espinoza, and our music is composed by Samuel James.